Terry McLaurin rounds out these three wide receivers that are, doing the half holdout thing. All three enter this year averaging an annual pay under $2 million in a market where, Brady, you even said it. I mean, some number threes are netting $10 million per year. So when you look at Terry McLaurin, I mean, what's next for Terry McLaurin here, Ryan?
He needs to get paid. I mean, he's been sort of the offense for the last few years on a Washington team that's had issues at quarterback. I thought Taylor Heineke was good, but he's not going to be the starter. They got Carson Wentz. They have issues at other positions. They drafted De'Ami Brown. He has a chance in year two to grow into that role. Curtis Samuel hasn't worked out yet. He'll have an opportunity as well. Terry McLaurin's been there each and every week for the duration of his career. Third-round pick, by the way, again, that recurring theme. I think he's a really good football player. He's a great team leader. Teammates look to him for leadership. The coaches look for him for leadership. And I understand why he might be upset, perhaps is too strong a word, but he wants to get paid. Again, the same conversation. He's looking around the league, seeing some of these guys making a lot more money than him, and he is a much better player. If he doesn't get paid in Washington, he'll certainly get paid somewhere. The question then becomes, how long is he willing to wait? We'll see what Washington does. The draft's in 8 days. Perhaps they make some moves there to mitigate the potential loss of Terry McLaurin in the long run. But I think in the short term, you got to find a way to make him happy to get him out there, because if anyone, I just talked about Trey Lance, Carson Wentz needs some playmakers for him, and you don't want to go into a season where your best playmaker is upset because he's not getting paid what you think he's worth.
We've talked about this in regards to A.J. Brown being their best receiving option for him by far. It's the same thing with Terry McLaurin. You can throw Logan Thomas in that conversation, but you take away Terry McLaurin, you're taking away a 1,000-yard receiver for back-to-back seasons. Really flirted with it in his rookie year. Probably could have gone over that number. And it's not like we've had stellar quarterback play throughout the course of his time there. So take that into consideration, too. If they can't get a contract done and they're looking long-term, say this just isn't going to work, he will have a big-time trade market considering his speed, his skill set, everything that he's showcased so far during his time with Washington. So, Jeremy, you talked about the fact that, well, they agreed to a contract. Well, unfortunately, that's out of their hands. The rookie draft wage scale is all slotted. So there's really nothing they can do about it but basically sign the contract that they're handed outside of negotiating a signing bonus and then the offset language. This is the first opportunity where they really have to utilize the leverage that they have, because they've largely outplayed what their contract states. And that's why he wants a new deal. The hard thing is, again, if he doesn't show up because he's under contract, he will be subject to fines. And if he wants to sit out the entire season, he's welcome to, but he's not going to get that accredited season. He's not going to get a step closer to free agency. And that's really what this is all about. All these wide receivers we just talked about, they've got 1 year left on their deal before they hit free agency. And so it'd be wise for every team, if they want to keep them on their roster, to negotiate with them now instead of playing through what could be an unhappy season, and on top of that, having to deal with the franchise tag on the other end, and we know how pricey that could get. So it makes sense for all these guys to try to get a long-term extension done now if the team values them. If not, find a trade partner. Someone else will sign them to a big money deal.
Okay, so then, Brady, does this become a collective bargaining issue then if we continue to see this happening?
Jeremy, it always has been. I mean, look at running backs. I mean, it's always been an issue for a collective bargaining agreement, but unfortunately, the union has so many different issues that, they have to try to prioritize. That's a difficult negotiation when the owners primarily have 2 or 3 every negotiation they're trying to get to. So this is not something that the union's going to strike over. We've got a long-term labor agreement. So unfortunately, nothing's going to change for the next decade under the current CBS.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.